Your light illuminates their imperfections, hence their attempts to dull your shine. Light 'em up.
My name and flowers grew right out the brown soil. My vision's clear as glass, the robe is purple satin plus the crown's royal. Allow me to give you a demonstration. Holding your breath, waiting for me to fail only brings hyperventilation. See, I'm a soldier that's ready for any situation. So me and life double dated my trials and tribulations. Won't be remembered for not speaking out. I Google map my whole approach, so I chose not to take the peaceful route. I promise I can't make this shit up. I shed a tear, then used the mic stand to hold my chin up. They plot and strategize on different ways to make me give up. That's easier said than done, like a woman that's 9 months pregnant doing sit-ups. Yeah, I read the book of life, defeat was never in my story. Just brutal fights on the battlefield is bloody and gory. Showing off is a fool's idea of glory. Call me foolish, stand in the clutch, I make them drop like I was Robert Ory. See, in this world you gotta sink or swim. Boy, I'm a legend, when I die my presence never will be felt again. This greatness rare, but see, I kept it in. Isolation in the demons, guardian angels been my only friend. I've been at war with myself in silence. Had a mental malfunction, forced to go into hiding. For powerless like I'm
right now, cause then you gonna understand, whoever get in my way, I'm a dog walk their ass.
Bam! You already know what it is, y'all. It's Big Mike Raider in the building, man. Thanks for coming in, man. We got 19 in the building right now. About to get this thing started shortly. I'm going to let it warm up a little bit. But welcome to the Big Mike Raider channel. If this is your first time, I'm Big Mike Raider. You guys already know what it is. It is the 2025 draft class. We're going to talk about it. We got 24 in the building. Let's see who's in the chat, man. I haven't done a live in a minute, man. But everybody that's here right now, I appreciate the support. We're going to get into some stuff. We're going to get into, we're going to talk a little bit about my 30 prospects. I got to give some shout outs to you guys for supporting that. It was the most successful 30 days, 30 prospects yet. 3 seasons in. In those 3 seasons, I only got 2 right. But I had a good time doing it. And we'll talk about it. And then we're going to talk about the 2025 draft class. And then we're going to get into the UDFAs. And you know how I do it. I break everything down. But before we get into anything, man, you guys already know what to do. Like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. We got 33 in the building. We're going to wait for a little bit more. But shout out to CGR in the building. Raiders. You already know what it is, man. We got Raider Ryan in the building. Salute to you, man. Huey P in the building. What's up? What's going on, man? Thanks for popping in. Kenny Clark in the building. See, shout out to CGR once again, man. Let's see. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Let's see. We got Jay Raider 007 in the building. Thanks for popping in. We got Retro Savvy in the building. Fire intro, and shout out to my cousin Cautious on the song. He does that song. He did the previous intro. Yeah, if you guys want to check him out, he's on SoundCloud. Cautious, KAWSHUS. On SoundCloud, so go check him out, man. He does my intros. He blesses the page with that, and he's also a Raider fan as well. So shout out to Cautious. We got Angel 1, 2, Valens, Big Mike Raider. You already know, man. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the support. We got Mad Mike. Hey, it's another Mad Mike from one to another, man. Salute to you. Let's see who else we got here, man. We got let's see. This is rolling already, man. Thanks for popping in, man. Thanks for everything. May 19th, it opens. So I'm guessing that's when the schedule comes out. Let me know what that means, man. I don't know what it means, but we got Warshak Raider 24 in the building. We got Space Beast. Let's go. You already know what it is, man. And we're going to get into it, man. Shout out to everybody that's here so far. If I missed you guys, you already know what it is. Dre for Show 123 is in the building. We got Alec M in the building. Let's talk about it, man. We had a pretty damn good draft, man. On Thursday, we got our guy Ashton Jeanty in the first round, generational talented running back. And then Friday, we topped out with some more guys. Let's run down the list of everybody that we picked up in the 2025 draft. So you guys already know Ashton Jeanty at number 6. And then round 2, we picked up Jack Bech from TC Bech. I've been saying Bech for a long time is Bech. So it's kind of weird saying that. But Jack Bech from TCU. Darien Porter, cornerback, tall, lanky dude from Iowa State. Charles Grant from William and Mary at number 99. Caleb Rogers as well. Tonka Hemingway. J.J. Pegues, Tommy Mellett, Cam Miller, Cody Lindenberg. So those are the guys that we picked up. We're gonna go one by one, and we're gonna talk about each and every one of them. But let's see what we got here, man. Let's see. Shout out to Retro Savvy. I see why Spy Tech is good in the back end of the draft, and that's why he wanted more picks. And that was one thing that I was really happy about what they did. I give this grade. I give this draft an A grade, specifically what we did in the second and third rounds. Now, the second round was, you guys already know we traded back. We got 2 additional thirds, and with those additional third round picks, we attacked the trenches, and that's the name of the game right here. We've been talking all off season. We gotta attack the trenches. That's the name of the game. We got Caleb Rogers. He's gonna probably be playing guard, and then we got a really highly underrated guy at the tackle position at Charles Grant. And I'm pretty excited about those 2 guys. I think Caleb Rogers can compete for that guard spot. I don't think maybe necessarily this season he's going to be that starter, but maybe in another year, second year, we'll see him out there. And then Charles Grant, he might compete for that right tackle spot. It also depends on what was going to happen with Colton Miller. Hopefully we sign him with a long-term deal for at least a couple or 3 years and keep him a Raider for the rest of his career at that left tackle spot. And then you have, DJ Glaze competing with Charles Grant on that right side. That's what I think. But what do you guys think? I want to hear what you guys have to say about the draft. What kind of grade do you give it? I'm going to do a 1-by-1 breakdown of each guy. We're going to talk about pros and cons, and then I'm going to give you my grade of what I think for that specific player. So we're going to do that shortly, man. But shout out to Fall Q with the $5 haymaker from one Southern Killer Cali native to another. What's up, big homie? What's up to you, man? And thanks for the support, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. We're about to get into it. I'm curious, Big Mike Raider, if you would be down to trade for Jalen Ramsey. So, all right. So, yeah, I would be okay with trading for Jalen Ramsey only if we take care of who's in-house right now. So, there's 2 guys specifically that's looking for a contract right now. Colton Miller, I said a 3-year, $21.5 million a year deal, some about $64.5 million. Out of that $64.5 million, give him about 70% of that in guarantees. And that's just below one of the where that market is. Mailata from the Eagles is getting paid $22 million. Deion Dawkins is getting paid $20 million. He's a little bit better than Deion Dawkins, but he's not as good as Mailata. Put him right there at $21.5 million for 3 years. Give him that money. And then the second guy we got to take care of is Jacoby Myers. So we got to take care of those 2 guys first before we think about bringing in a Jalen Ramsey. Now, he's out of guaranteed money. We're going to have to restructure if we do bring him in. What his money is looking like right now seems a little absurd, so we're going to have to really rearrange some stuff. And, keep him for a couple years, but we got to make it has to be feasible for us and has to make sense if we're going to bring in a Jalen Ramsey. But I'm okay with it as long as it makes sense and we take care of our guys that's in building first. But you guys let me know what you think about it, man. We got Retro Savvy says a B+. Okay, B+ is good. I like that. J Raider 007 B+, 2 quarterbacks back-to-back and converting. I do like, at first I was like, what are we doing with Tommy Mellott and Cam Miller? I do like Tommy Mellott, Montana State. He's one of those dudes that that's a Tom Brady special, guys. You guys already know what it is. Tom Brady played with the Julian Edelman with the Patriots, who was a former quarterback in college who converted to wide receiver. Similar athleticism, similar size. He's going to be converting into that, what we hope to be a Julian Edelman type. And I think that he can do some special things in a limited role his rookie year at the wide receiver spot. Give him the ball. He looks like he could do some special things once he touches the ball, but I don't know, man. And then Cam Miller from North Dakota State is kind of a diamond in the rough. We haven't been talking about a lot of those quarterbacks on the really, really back end. You know, we were talking about guys like Kyle McCord. We were talking about guys like what's the guy's name? Will Howard. We were talking about those guys kind of on the back end. And then on top of that, we did have Shedeur Sanders, who was sitting in the 5th round. We could have possibly picked up numerous times in that 5th round. Well, we'd have to move up with one of those 6 to get him. But, you know, we could have got him and had him sit if we really wanted a quarterback. So I can see where you're coming from that. But, you know, Cam Miller has some great stats. He has a good pedigree. His resume is great at the FCS level. He won a couple of national championships. So he is a winner. So he's going to compete. So I'm okay with it, especially in the 6th round. I'm not going to be overly critical about what's going on in the 6th round, but I get where you're coming from for sure, man. Angel 12 Valens says A-. Okay, I like it. Shock Bowers, Mellet might return kicks too. Yeah. And you're gonna see a lot of stuff. Mellet might do it. You know, Dylan Lobby still has something to say about some things. Trey Tucker has some things to say as well. You know, so you know, there's we got a lot of moving pieces right now. We got a lot of pieces that can contribute to this offense and special teams. It's I like what the Raiders are doing so far. Right now, I'm pretty excited. Let's see. Shout out to Kenny Clark. He says Thornton is Cliff Branch 3.0. Get him number 21. I'm all right with that, man. 4.3 speed, 6'5" from Tennessee. I like it. Let's see. I'm gonna answer some of the questions, and then we're gonna get into what I wanted to talk about. But before that, let's get into some of the questions. Do you think we're done making trades, Big Mike? I think if we were gonna get a trade going, it would be a Jalen Ramsey type or a guy that would really fit in, maybe another safety. We didn't address the safety position like I thought we would. You can argue and say we didn't maybe fulfill that linebacker position that we should have, or maybe we do have it already in the building. We do have a lot of youngsters at that linebacker position, and, you know, we got a Landon Roberts, who's probably going to get the green dot. He's going to be that starting middle linebacker. And we got our other guy, the other veteran that I can't think of his name right now, but you guys know who I'm talking about, that other linebacker right there. So maybe they think that the linebacker room is good enough for right now. But I think if we're going to make some trades, it's going to be that post June 1st situation where we Devin White, the linebacker who I was thinking about. But, you know, that post June 1st, once, you know, money kind of moves around a little bit, maybe you do make a move for Jalen Ramsey, a corner, or maybe you do make a move for a free safety or, you know, an additional free safety if you're not 100% confident in what Polamalu can do, or bring an additional linebacker. But those are the things that I think would happen if we were going to make some trades. But shout out to you. Shout out to Raider Nation Drew. He says best draft since 2014. It might be better than 2014. Now, it's hard to say because we don't have anything in numbers to say that it's better, but this is something that I'm excited about. The initialness. I was excited after the 2014 draft, what we did, but this one I'm a little bit more excited just because it seems like a complete success from 1 to 7. So you're right. It's definitely one of the best drafts we had in many years. Shout out to Alec M. Tucker will have to step it up this offseason. Yeah, he's going to have to fight for a spot for sure. It's not promised. It's not promised. So shout out to James. He says, what up, Big Mike? Keep the great work. Raiders, thanks for the support, man. I appreciate it. And we got 98 in the building, the Max Crosby special. Make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and most importantly, share with your folks. Guys, we're about 125, 124 away from 3,000 subscribers. I'm going to be honest with you, man. You know, if I was to do this a little bit more, my numbers would be a little bit higher because you guys have supported me like crazy when I do pop up, and you guys never forget about me, and I appreciate you guys for that. But 3,000 to me is pretty damn crazy that you guys come and support me from what I'm doing, man. So 3,000, if we can get to 3,000 soon enough, at least before the season starts, that'll be great, man. I appreciate you guys in advance, man. Shout out to Lord Buddy Bear. I see you can't get right in that. You know, CGR's in the building, man. You already know. Natural immunity. I wish we would have grabbed a safety. Yeah, you know, then that's what I was thinking. Like, you know, I don't want to say that it's an A minus. I want to give it a solid A. Now, could we have done a little bit better addressing the safety? Absolutely. But, you know, what they've done, especially considering that they took that second round pick and flipped it to get a guy that you could have got in Jack Bech in, you know, he was like a first round graded guy. You got him in the middle of the second and flip that to get additional third round picks. That right there. And then with the third round picks, you got additional trench, help. That really makes it a solid A for me. That to me, that's what I think, man. So, but yeah, safety, I do wish that they did address the safety position. But yeah, it's I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Shout out to Alec M. I wanted to snag a linebacker like Teddy Buchanan in the 4th round. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought Teddy Buchanan was gonna go in the 7th round, 6th or 7th round, and he got picked up by the Ravens in the 4th round. And who's gonna tell them that's a reach? I mean, you know, the Ravens is the right fit for any kind of linebacker, right? Especially with a guy like Teddy Buchanan who gets after the quarterback, great in coverage. It's a good fit for him. So, you know, congratulations to Teddy Buchanan getting picked in the 4th round. But yeah, I was shocked, man. I was definitely in shock. We got Paul Edgerton in the building, man. Thanks for popping in. We got Matt Marinovich. Let's see. Maybe more of a free safety. Yeah, free safety is what I'm really looking at, right? Because we're a little bit thin there now. If you really believe in Trey Taylor, the guy that we picked up from the Air Force last year in the 7th round, if you really believe in him, maybe you don't need it. And this is a guy that was, he was one of the best safeties coming out of college. He won the best safety award out of college at Air Force, and he dropped to the 7th round. It was kind of a steal when we did pick him up. So, maybe he comes out and is that, he kind of finds his stride in this 2nd year. But we'll see. But guys, let's jump into each pick, right? I want to talk about Ashton Jeanty. You guys already know what he is. 5'8", 210 pounds from Boise State, running back. A Navy brat, grew up. His parents were in the Navy, moved around, went around the world, settled in Jacksonville, and found his way to, Boise State, where he absolutely killed it. You guys already know, ran for over 2,600 yards, 2-time All Mountain West player of the year, offensive player of the year. Let's talk about some of his strengths. You guys already know. Elite contact balance, sheds tackles with ease and maintains momentum through traffic, elite vision and anticipation, consistently finds exploit gaps before they fully materialize, rare combination of burst and long speed, soft, natural hands with wide catch radius. That's one thing that, a lot of people forget about. This guy can catch the ball out of the backfield. He catches the ball out of the backfield very well. And when he's breaking free, who's going to catch him and who's going to tackle him if it's in a one-on-one situation? So that's what I'm really excited about. I'm not going to get into all the strengths. You guys know what the weaknesses are. The wear and tear, kind of has the short arms. People worry about him fumbling. Route tree, as far as being a running back, isn't like thorough the way you want. But this dude is a generational talent. He has very little flaws. And if I was going to give an individual grade on this pick right here, I give it a 99 out of 100. So I'm grading on a 1 through 100 scale to make it more detailed. So I give this grade to Ashton Jeanty for the 1st round, pick 6, a 99 out of 100. You guys let me know what you think. Out of 1 through 100, what number would you give the Ashton Jeanty pickup at number 6? You guys let me know, man. Let me know. Let me see what we got here. Raider Nation Drew Kuntz is playing for the money. No way he's not starting this season like his hair is on fire. Yeah, he's playing for a contract. It's a prove-it year for him. One Does he deserve a big payday? And 2, can he stay healthy? Those are the 2 things he has to prove right now. Shout out to Al Apocalypse. Yo, large Michael Pirate. B+ draft. Only regret is not getting an earlier quarterback prospect. I understand that, but impressive nonetheless. I get that. I get that. A lot of people were kind of hoping that we would find a quarterback 2, or at least somebody that we can sit for the future, and kind of mold while Geno Smith does his thing. So I get it. I get it. Let's see who else we got here. Want to hear your scores, man. What do you think about that first round? What did we get? The score. Retro Savvy says 96. I like it. CGR says 100. Perfect score. Perfect draft pick. We got Raider 007, J Raider 007 with a 99 score. I like it. Matt Marinovich says Carson is number 2. Polamalu number 20. Eric Stokes 22. Jeanty is gonna wear number 2. Carlson, we love you, but you got to give up number 2. Find a different number, man. That's Jeanty's number, man. I'm sorry. A kicker, kicker versus a running back that you picked in the first round, you're not going to win that one. And whatever Jeanty has to pay, wherever else has to pay that to get that number 2 off of him. And I'm sure Carlson he's not really overly connected with the number 2, if I had to guess. Give Jeanty number 2, because I want to rock a number 2 Jeanty jersey. That's the rookie I'm getting. That's the jersey I'm getting. I'm getting a Brock Bowers this year, and I'm getting a Jeanty. So give him the number 2, man. He can't wear any other number. Let's see. Natural Immunity says 1,000. Coach sipping Jamba Juice out of a straw. Coach in the building. 100. I like it, man. I like it. Paul Edgerton says 95 because I'm not sure about his pass blocking. Yeah. That's one of his. Let's go down the list, right? Yep. One of his weaknesses is could improve patience behind the line of scrimmage to fully exploit blocking development. So you are on the money with that. He does have to improve on the pass blocking. If he wants to be a 3-down back, he's going to have to do that, right? But we have a whole rotation of guys that we can kind of rely on for that in the pass blocking situation. And you want to get Ashton Jeanty out in space, passing him the ball before you have him blocking, and not you're taking away a weapon. You have him staying in and blocking. So I'm not overly concerned, but you're absolutely on the money with that. Kind of he's I wouldn't say he's horrible at it. That's one of his weaknesses. If there was a weakness, we're nitpicking with Jeanty in that situation, but his weakness is with that pass blocking situation. So you're on the money with that one. 95, I can respect that. 100 from Space Beast. Let's see. Shout out to Natural Immunity. Aside from Bowers, Jeanty is the best pick we made since Mac. And in back-to-back years, we've had excellent drafts. I mean, say what you want. The last year's draft was really good. We got 3 starters out of it. Got a rotational piece in the 4th round with DeCameron Richardson. And, even on the back end of the draft, Dylan Lobby, special teams guy, Trey Taylor, who might be, playing for that safety number 2 spot. So we had a pretty good draft, and this year is so far so good too. So I think I'm okay with it. Back-to-back years, we had I would say, really good drafts, probably one of the best. So we're developing the future with this team already. You see it right now. It's happening before our eyes. Shout out to Kenny Clark. Get the rookie of the year. Yeah. And I saw somewhere that Ashton Jeanty is a plus 250. For all you bettors out there, if you guys want to bet futures, Ashton Jeanty is a plus 250, the best odds at all these rookies to win rookie of the year. So if you guys want to put a little scratch on it, $100 will win you $250 if you want to put some money on Jeanty winning rookie of the year. Let's see. We got Huey P. 95 needs to work on pass block. You guys are on the money, man. That's why you guys are the best. Hey, the best well-knowledge fan base in all the NFL and all of sports, man. You guys know exactly what you're talking about. Pass blocking, he needs to improve on that. Absolutely. We got Fudge 357, Big Mike Raider. What up? I gave a draft a solid A. I like it, man. I like it. Let's see. Let me keep rolling. I want to address everybody for this show, man. We got 135 in the building. Make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Bassa was good as well, but needs to work on some aspects of his game as well. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Natural immunity, I'm ordering mine ASAP. Yeah, I need to get on it. Dre for show 123. Jeanty is dope. Yeah, he's an excellent running back. Let me see. That's tough. Jeanty deserves it. Carlson been messing up. Yeah. Carlson's gonna have to give that up, man. He hasn't been himself in a couple years. So, Carlson give up that number 2. And Paul, that's a good one. That's a good idea, right? Give Jeanty 24. We have to fix the mystique of the number 24, right? Jonathan Abram had it last, and it didn't work out, right? Or did Marcus Peters have 24? Anyway, whoever was 24 last, whoever been wearing number 24 last hasn't been given it justice. So, hey, maybe Jeanty is that guy that next up to wear 24. Hey, coach says he's getting a Cam Miller jersey. Okay, we'll see. Quarterback of the future right there. That's bold right there. Hey, but you never know, man. You never know. It could be one of those Brock Purdy situations. You never know. It's about time we hit on something like that, man. I mean, all these other teams get these diamond in the roughs and they end up, hitting on that. So maybe it's our turn. Hopefully you're right. Number 2 is a little tainted because of Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, I get it, but we also had Terrell Pryor who wore number 2, and he did all right. Now, he wasn't the greatest quarterback either, but he was a lot better than Jamarcus Russell. So, Jamarcus Russell's not going to completely ruin a number for me. He's long gone. He's old news. Give Jeanty number 2. That's what I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me see. Shout out to Dre for show 123. Kenny Clark says we might be able to make arrangement for Daniel Carlson to get number 00. Hey, maybe we need to start like a GoFundMe to pay for Jeanty to wear number 2, man. Let me know, y'all. Let me know. Let me see. Alpocalypse, I got a home and away Jamarcus jersey. He need a couple of Jeanty nameplates, and I'm straight. Yeah, easy money. Easy. That's easy work, man. You don't even have to get a jersey. Let's see. Carlos Enfuego in the building. Big dog Mike Raider. What's your grade for the draft? I like I said, I give it a solid A. So let me see. I'm gonna get to the bottom of the comments. You guys are on the money today, man. Let's see. CGR says, hold on. Huey P says Charlie Garner vibes of Marcus Allen, 25 or 32. I like it. CGR says 32 would be nice. That would be a nod to Marcus Allen, and I'd be all right with it. So let's get on to the next one. We're going to talk about Jack Bech. It sounds like I'm saying bitch, but I can't get used to that. But we're going to talk about Jack Bech from TCU. We're going to talk about a second-round pick, 6'1", 214 pounds, out of TCU, wide receiver, multi-role guy, ran a 4.55, gritty dude. I did some research on him recently. When we picked him initially, I was like, I don't know how I feel about it, man. I was more looking into a guy like Savion Williams a little bit later. I was looking into a Jaden Higgins. I was looking at those type of receivers, kind of a big body wide receiver. We ended up getting one in the 4th round, but I was looking at other wide receivers other than him. And, to do my research and do my homework on him, I was very pleased with what he brings to the table. So, let's talk about the strengths from Jack Bech. Elite catch focus and concentration in traffic, consistently extends away from his frame and snags throws with a vice grip hands, even with defenders draped all over him. Master controlling catch space, uses sophisticated body positioning and timing to box out defenders like a power forward. Man, I love those kind of receivers, guys who are physical and uses their body to their advantage. I love that. Runs with controlled anger after the catch. I really like that, man. He grabs the ball and he's running with purpose, right? A lot of these wide receivers want to tiptoe around, dance around. They don't want, they're scared of the contact. They're scared of, this guy is not that. Jack Bech is a gritty receiver. He fits in with the Raiders' mystique perfectly. Advanced understanding of finding soft spots against zone coverage. Kind of almost reminds me of a Hunter Renfrow, but a more athletic Hunter Renfrow, right? Kind of find a soft spot in coverage, real savvy, real crafty, that kind of guy, right? physical hands fighter in press coverage. So yeah, he's not getting pushed around or bullied, right? That is he's checking all the boxes for me, what I like to see in a wide receiver. Exceptional ball tracking on deep throws, adjusts naturally to the ball in flight, and rarely gets thrown off by late defensive contact. Creates late separation at the top of routes through subtle push-offs and veteran savvy that borders on artistry. Yeah, savviness, man. That's how wide receivers stay in this league, right? Because at some point your athleticism kind of diminishes a little bit, but over years you're going to have to be a little bit more savvy with trying to get open and stay open. And he does those things, right? Reliable chain mover who rises to the moment. So, hey, we're going to do a third and Jack, third and Renfro. That's passed. He's with the Panthers. Congratulations to Hunter Renfro. But maybe we get a third and Jack kind of situation going. I like everything that Jack Bech brings to the table. Considering where we got him and considering what we got after the fact, those additional third round picks, I'm going to give this an A-. I'm going to give this a 91 out of 100. You guys let me know what you think. A 91 out of 100 from Big Mike. I want to know what you guys get, what you guys would give this second round pick. Give me a number 1 through 100, what you think about him. Let me see. And we got 154 in the building, man. Man, you guys are the best, man. Man, you guys show up for me, man. And I appreciate y'all. What grade would you give Spytech and Old Man Pete for the first draft? I'll say this whole entire offseason, I'm giving it an A+. These dudes from beginning to end, everything that they've done contract-wise, offseason, free agency, draft, I've been pleased. I have no complaints. And I was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't know how I felt about it, right? And I'm hoping that Pete Carroll continues bringing that mystique that he did with the Seahawks. I know his last couple years there weren't the best. I hope that his coaching ability he still has it, right? But off-season wise, operations wise, everything that they've been doing, A+. Now, they could really up that score if they can get Colton Miller back in the building and we can get a contract for Jacoby Myers, something that's more team friendly. But I'm hoping for the best right now. I'm really liking what I see. J Raider 007, 95, one drop all year, reliable and kind of fast, right? And between our two receivers that we have, Jacoby Myers and Jack Bech, they've only dropped one catch between the two of them. Like, we got reliable handed wide receivers, and then sometimes that's better than having a star wide receiver. And we'll get one in due time. Maybe we turn in one of these guys. Maybe a Thornton can be that star wide receiver when it's all said and done. But we definitely got some sure-handed guys when it's all said and done. Shout out to Jeff Matthews. He says a B+. Paul Edgerton says, I'm happy to give Bech a 90. I like it. Let me see. Space Beast says a 93. I mock Bech to the Raiders in the third round. They're going to bring the house of pain to the secondary. Yeah, and that's most importantly what I see with this team is that they're building an identity. They're going to run the ball. Jeanty's going to, run down your face, and he's going to knock you on your ass, and then you're going to pass it to Jack Bech, and he's going to knock you on your ass, and then we're going to change pace, and then we're going to put a second running back in there, and we're going to move the chain, and you're going to have to deal with us. That's the name of the game with this team. We're building the trenches. We got JPJ at center. We got a bunch of youngsters on that line who are hungry and trying to prove some things. On the other side on defense, you guys already know what they bring to the table. This team seems to be one of those teams that you're going to have to deal with for 60 minutes. You're going to have to bring a lunch pail, that old school Raider mentality. That's what I'm seeing with this team. They're building an identity, a Raiders identity, not this, this running gun, tippy toe, we're going to do it the finesse way. No, we're going to go the unbeaten path. We're going to do it the hard way, and teams are going to find out, man. That's what I see with this team. But you guys let me know. Am I off the mark with that one? We got Troy Gill, 95 out of 100. I like it. Kenny Clark, teams won't be getting ready for Raider Week. No. It will be getting ready for Dread Week. And that's what we have to bring back, right? We got to get back to these teams dreading to come see the Raiders, right? It was already bad enough that, going to Oakland. That was already hard enough. Well, we don't have that home field advantage anymore, but we can build a team to where they're like, we got to deal with the Raiders. You know, yeah, we got half the stadium with our fans in there, but this has nothing to do with football, right? When the pads come on and the helmets get strapped up, we got to deal with the silver and black, and that's what teams are going to have to do. And I think we're turning the leaf into doing so. So, and maybe in due time, we can get that home field advantage in Vegas and really just set it on fire and, change things around. But in the meantime, we're going to build a team that's knocking people on their ass. So that's how I feel about it. You guys let me know. Let me see. We got Fudge 357. What do you think about Shedeur going to the Browns? I knew we weren't going to the Raiders. Yeah. I thought after maybe the third or fourth round, we would really take a look at Shedeur Sanders. It's so odd to see him getting dropped to the fifth round. It was definitely one of those surreal moments, and I'm conflicted, right? I didn't think he was a first round talent, but I like the kid, right? He seems to be a competitor when he is on the field. But if he's trying to take a page from Deion Sanders, his dad, I don't think that a lot of teams are really turned on by that kind of thing, especially when you are kind of a mediocre type of quarterback. He doesn't do anything super great. He's not a horrible quarterback, but in a weak draft class, in any other scenario, he's not getting picked. He's probably not even going to get picked. Like say last year, right? As deep as a quarterback draft class was last year, you probably see him in the sixth round. If he's dropping to the fifth here, just imagine what he would be in last year's draft class. Just imagine what he would be, in next year's draft class. Like I didn't think he was really a great prospect to begin with. I do like his mentality. He plays hard when he is on the field. But a lot of teams were turned off by that attitude, and that kind of stuff matters when you're building a franchise that you hope to build around your quarterback. You kind of look for certain things in a quarterback that I don't think he has the maturity to kind of realize yet. And maybe in due time he does. I hope he does. But dropping to the fifth, hopefully that humbles him. Hopefully that lights a fire under him. And I hope he does get the starting spot with the Browns when it's all said and done. I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel, I'll tell you that. When it's all said and done, he was still maybe the second or third best quarterback in this draft class. And for whatever reason, people were just turned off by his attitude and the overconfidentness or whatever it may be. A lot of teams were turned off by that. Owners were, and they made a point. They made a statement. Collusion, you can call it what you want, but when these owners team up and when they're trying to make a point, they're gonna make their point. It's a business at the end of the day. So, it is what it is. I wish Shedeur Sanders the best, but he's not a Raider. So at the end of the day, F him in that situation. Let me see. We got Christ like the General. All the players you've mentioned, don't forget about Brock. Oh, yeah, Brock Bowers, too. Don't get me wrong. I was just mentioning wide receivers, but our guy, Brock Bowers, all this extra stuff we're going to do, vertical threat, a guy that's running yards after the catch, that's all setting it up for big guy Brock Bowers. So, this is a special offense that's it's really turning the corner. The Raiders are really turning the corner with this offense. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I don't want to be overly hype. I don't want to be a cheerleader. I don't want to hype it up too much. But I think I wasn't very confident in what the Raiders were doing last year around the same time. I wasn't happy with what they picked up offensive coordinator wise. AP seemed to be like a parody of a Raiders fan. And it was kind of mocking us a little bit. It seemed like when it's all said and done, we kind of look back at, every time he was sitting in front of a camera, it seemed like all he wanted to do was like throw out buzzwords and really like, he was just one of those guys that was just like a rah-rah type of guy, but it seemed like it was like a slap in the face when it came to being on the field. He didn't really deliver the way he was talking in press conferences. But this year, I'm going to say that this team has a good shot to make the playoffs right off the jump. Barring injury, I think that we could go, 10-7, 11-6. You always see one of those teams every year that kind of surprise you and get into the playoffs. I see this team doing that. I kind of saw it last year just based on the defense we had, but not only do we bring back everybody on the most people on the defense, we're also bringing in a much better offense with a better quarterback. So I think that this year's team is going to shock a lot of people this year. And we've had the best offseason that we've had in many, many years. So I'm excited what we're bringing to the table, man. Shout out to Shock Bowers. Reports coming out about how unprepared he was in interviews and stated arguing with folks. He should have hired an agent to prepare him for that. I heard that he was sandbagging the interviews too. So meaning, sandbagging meaning that he was the teams that he didn't want to go to. He was intentionally tanking these interviews so people could be turned off by him. But the problem is that these guys talk. Now, I don't think that he got good gouge from, a Deion Sanders. I don't think that Deion Sanders gave him good gouge, or he didn't have the wherewithal to be like, hey, you got to these owners and GMs talk. So if you come in with a reputation with a couple of these guys, that reputation is going to spread, and I don't think anybody will, the right people are in his corner with the situation. So maybe you're right. Maybe we do have, if he gets an agent, somebody that's kind of on the outside of that bubble, kind of helping him out and giving him the tough love and telling him, hey man, this isn't a way. This isn't becoming of a quarterback, the behavior of a quarterback in the NFL. You got to fix it, man. You're trying to make this a career, because nobody really cares about your ability. The ability comes second. Your attitude and how you handle adversity is what's gonna be looked at the most in this situation. So hopefully he gets the right guys in his corner, because I really want to see him succeed, to be honest with you. So we'll see. All we need now is the O-line to gel. Absolutely. Shout out to sorry. Fired up this season. Raiders. Yeah, I'm fired up too. I can't wait. Let me see. Isaiah R. They all old white racists. Yeah, you got to play. Look, man, you got to play the game, man. Nothing that's not going to change, right? Maybe in 20, 30 years, we will see a much more diverse NFL's terms of ownership and GM, all that stuff, right? Maybe we'll see that, right? But in today's world, you got to play the game. I hate to say it, but that if you're trying to get paid, man, you got to play the game. If you want to be yourself, do that on your own time, man. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. I hate to say that, but that's how it is. Space Beast, it was more about AP and not the team. I didn't like all those video shoots and stuff. And I backed him as our coach. Notice Moss stopped saying nice things in November. Yeah, and I look back at it and I looked at all the stuff that AP was saying and doing. It was almost like it was like a Raider grift. Like he was like, I'm gonna roll in this car. I'm gonna come up with all these Raider things to say. I'm gonna have the Black Air Forces. He was doing everything except for being a head coach. And at the end of the day, I don't really care how you look. I don't care how you talk. I don't care if it's the Raider way or not. I want to win some damn games. I don't know about you guys, but all that rah, I like the Raiders. I was a fan of the Raiders back when I was younger and all this other stuff. Like, we've all heard it before at this point, right? We've heard it from Marcus Peters. He sucked. We heard it from Devontae Adams. He ended up, stabbing us in the back, right? We heard it from AP. He sucked as a head coach. I want somebody that's going to come in here. I don't care if you had any kind of allegiance with the Raiders before or after or during. I just want you to win some damn games. I think that's the only thing that matters to me right now, and I think it should only matter to you guys in this situation. Win some damn games, and let's get to the playoffs and become a respectable franchise once again. That's where I'm at with that one, man. But I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about that one, man. Let me know how you feel. I asked Shedeur make silver and black shoes for the draft. Yeah, it really felt like it seemed like the stars were aligning for a long time that it was going to be a Raider, that he was going to be a Raider, and especially when he was dropping to the fourth round. Even in the third round, when we had back-to-back third-round picks, it was like, oh, the stars are aligning. We're definitely going to be picking him at some point. All the stuff he was saying about the Raiders, the silver and black cleats, like, it all felt like that he was going to become a Raider. And for some reason, it was just I guess it wasn't meant to be, but I do wish him the best, man. He seems like a good kid. He's never in trouble. He just talks too much. And he needs a little bit of humility in his life. He needs the right people in his corner. And I hope that he gets that really soon because I want to see him succeed. Let me see. Fudge 357 heard today that Shiloh doesn't want Prime representing him anymore and going to hire a sports agent. Well, I mean, if this is an example of going the Prime way, right? It's not the right way. That's not what these teams want. And I'm glad he made a pivot because if he wants to stay in this league, if he wants to make some money in this league, especially as a UDFA, you're going to have to change some things too. Shiloh wasn't really that type of boisterous guy. And it's okay to kind of be if you're playing the defense, right? It's a little bit different than being a quarterback and doing so, right? I'm okay with it. So, we'll see. Stay tuned for that one, man. But we got Anthony in the building with some nonsense. Shedeur needs some of that, some gilf fupa. Anthony, you're a sick human being, man. You're a sick human being. And we got 178 in the building, man. You guys know what to do, man. Like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. I'm going to get through a couple more comments, and we're going to talk about these third-round picks. Respect, Big Mike. Hey, respect to you, man. Thanks for coming in, as always. Thanks for the support. Raider Nomad, win and don't lose badly. BS losses are the worst. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, any loss hurts at this point. Coach says Shiloh sounds smarter than Shedeur. I always thought that he was kind of like a quiet kid, kind of unassuming. Not exactly like the same cut as his dad, right? But Shedeur is definitely his father's son. So Shiloh seems a little bit different from that. I hope he succeeds as well. The whole Sanders family, I hope they succeed. Let me see. Kenny Clark, is it food? Guilt fupas? I mean, it could be food if that's what you're into. I mean, I'm not talking. To each his own. To each his own. Drake for show 1, 2, 3. Shedeur was not being professional at all. I'm in those NFL interviews that turned many teams away. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Let me see. Christ like the general. If Al Davis was still around, Sanders would have been picked to the Raiders just to piss people off. Yeah, he would have been picked number 6. He would have been picked number 6, right? And that probably wouldn't have been the best move, right? Probably wouldn't have been the best move. Bold take. Raiders have a top 6 offense. I think right in the middle is where we're going to be. 14, 15, good enough, right? But I think we're going to have a top 6 defense. I'll tell you that. I think we're going to have a top 6 defense. I think we're going to get in the playoffs. Let me see. Ford Dog, can we please move on from Sanders? He's not a Raider. Yeah, we can. Let's talk about the third round pick, right? Hey, people want to talk about Shedeur Sanders. We're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders at the end of the day. But we're going to talk about the third round pick. We're going to talk about, let's see, let's go down the list right here. We're going to talk about Caleb Rogers, number 98 overall pick. Let me pull him up real quick. Pause if necessary. Caleb Rogers. Let's talk about him, man. We're talking about Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech. Let's see. Let's see, man. We got 178 in the building. Make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. 6'5", 312 pounds, Texas Tech from Mansfield, Texas. Big boy. He's going to be playing the guard position more than likely. 312 pounds is a little light in the ass for me. He needs to get up to about 325 at the very least. But, a good conditioning, strength and conditioning program from the Raiders would do him good, man. Multi-role offensive lineman, can play the guard in the tackle position, like I said. Let's see. Some of his strengths: battle tested with unmatched experience, having started 55 consecutive games across multiple positions. The game tape volume alone gives him a significant edge in mental processing. So that's the type of thing that I'm looking at with offensive linemen, right? This dude played 55 consecutive games. Reliability, IQ. Those are the two things that you would check off the box and be like, that's what I'm looking for, right? Passes off stunts and twists with veteran savvy, showing impressive communication skills that translate well to the next level. Rarely gets caught looking lost amid chaos. High IQ guy, right? You want your offensive linemen to be the smartest guys on the offense, on the field when it comes to offense. Your center being the smart guy, the brains of the operation. People want to give quarterbacks their due diligence to say that they are the brains of this whole operation, but it doesn't run without the trenches. And your smartest guy on the field has to be your center. I don't care what anybody says. And he has to be also the nastiest dude on the field. Deploys a stiff, jarring punch that lands square in the defender's chest plate, creating intermediate separation that buys critical recovery time and pass protection. Yeah, good punch, nasty demeanor. That's what we're looking for. Shows excellent vision and spatial awareness when pulling, demonstrating keen ability to locate and eliminate second-level defenders with controlled aggression. It's nothing like a guard going down the line like a damn freight train and looking for his next victim. That's what we're looking for, those type of guards, right? Anchors with impressive lower body strength, dropping his hips to absorb power rushes. So, yeah, good pass protection. He's anchoring down, recovering, staying low, low man wins, low pad level wins. You guys know how it goes, right? And then let's get one more. Plays through the echo of the whistle with a mean streak that shows up when finishing blocks, puts defenders on their backs, and makes them remember the encounter. I love that again. Let me read that again. Puts defenders on their backs and makes them remember the encounter. That is what we're getting at Caleb Rogers, man. I'm hyped just reading that, bro. Who's not hyped? Who's not hyped? I mean, come on, man. I love the trenches. I don't know about you guys, but what do you give Caleb Rogers this pick? Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This guy was kind of he was a reach. He was a slight reach, but he fulfills a need, right? So I'm not going to be overly critical on this move, right? And how we got this pick is what I like the most, right? So I'm okay with a slight reach in this situation because of what we did in the second round with getting Jack Bech, kind of a guy that was a, mid-second, kind of getting good value in that draft position. Kind of reaching, I'm okay with it. But I would give this an 84 out of 100. And, when it's all said and done, this might be an A+ home run draft pick. What do you guys give this grade? I give it an 84 out of 100. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. 84 for Caleb Rogers. Let me hear it. Let me see. Anthony goes, AO, pause, man. Hey, nothing like put a defender on his back, man. I don't care, man. Pause if necessary. I don't care. I get excited when it comes to that, man. Welcome to the Pancake House, IHOP, International House of Pancakes, somewhere where everybody can get flapjacked and short stacked and all that good stuff, man. I love it. Let's see. Space Beast, Mr. Rogers, too close of an encounter. I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, I like it. Isaiah R., let him gain some weight for a year or so. Him and Grant. I like it. I'm with that. Kenny Clark goes serving it up hot. You already know. Let's see. I like him and Grant to be heavier, but I'm with it. Yeah. I think we can all agree to that, right? Rogers is a B. Caleb Rogers gets a B from Fudge 357. And shout out to Tyler McNair. Hold on. Tyler McNair goes, Jack Bech is Puka Nacua. I've been hearing that lately. It's pretty crazy. I don't want to jump the gun, but that's what I've been hearing. Solid B from Isaiah R. Anthony gives it a B+. Paul Edgerton, 80 for Rogers. Okay, I'm cool with that. I get it. Rogers a B+. Heard Niners had eyes on him, or Grant, we got both. So yeah, I heard that teams were trying to move up for him too. Now, what I read and did my research on, and he was like a fifth round grade, right? He had a 5th round grade. But these offensive linemen, it's really hard to kind of figure out where they stand in the draft because some teams it fulfills a need. This guy fulfills what we're trying to do. So we're gonna pick him at this spot. We saw it for the last couple of years. We saw it with Juice Scruggs with the Texans. Juice Scruggs was a 6th round grade. A lot of people thought he was going 6th round. He ended up getting picked in the 2nd. So it just all depends on what your fit is, what you're trying to do, how you feel about this guy, how you evaluated him. Everybody has a different look, right? It's not a fit. It's not one of those one size fits all kind of situations. If it fits with your team, you get that, especially in the offensive line. Like that's just how it goes with offensive linemen. Now, skill positions, it's a little bit different. But offensive line, it has to be the right fit with what you're trying to do. It's a little bit more nuanced than what, a grade, projection and all things like that. It just things fit differently. So I'm okay with it. Shout out to Shock Bowers, 86. I like that. I give it an 84, so we're pretty close. Drafting for need or reach or potential. What about UDFAs? Who? We're going to get into UDFAs. I got to run through this real quick, man. We've been rolling for about almost an hour and I only got to the third round. So, yeah, I've been running my mouth for sure. Tyler, I call Bech Big Puka. I like it. Okay, I see what you mean. We got Myra G in the building. Hey, Big Mike stopping by to support. Hey, thanks for coming in. I appreciate the support. Good to see you too. Let me see. Anthony, J Raider 007. Oh yeah, okay. Let me see. Any more grades on this one? We're gonna move on to the next. We got an 80 from CGR. 80 for Troy Gill goes 80. Space Beast 80 for Rogers, gets an area of need, but I have to see it on the field. Brett Coleman loves him. Yeah, see, if you love him, you get him, right? That's really what it comes down to when it comes to the offensive line, right? So I'm okay with it, right? I give it an 84, slight reach, but I'm okay. So let's talk about the next one, right? We're going to talk about Big Charles Grant from William & Mary, small school guy. Got him at back-to-back picks. And I'm going to tell you what, a lot of people said that he was, a first-round caliber guy, right? He's a little bit light in the ass too, right? But he's going to play that guard position. That tackle position, 6'5", 311 pounds. You want to get him up a little bit more, but 311 is fine. If you're athletic, you can use your arms and use technique. I'm okay with 311. You want to get him up to about 315 to 320, right? Let's see. Let's talk about some of the strengths real quick. We're not going to talk about everything, but exceptional lateral quickness and fluidity in pass sets, showing natural wrestling influence balance while mirroring edge rushers with efficient redirect capabilities. So he's a wrestler, right? Good mobility, good leverage, things like that. Plays with disciplined leverage and hand placement. Check that off the box. Nasty zone blocker with surgical second level targeting, and that's what we're going to be doing. A lot of zone blocking, a lot of moving around. You want your tackles to be athletic, so he fits in perfectly. Elite competitive temperament shows up when finishing blocks. So yeah, mean streak about him, right? That's what you're looking for. Recovers with remarkable body control when initially beaten. So he gets beaten, handles adversity. He recovers. He replaces the hands with his hands, and he does what he has to do. Processing speed jumps off the film against stunts and blitzes. So IQ is what we're talking about. So he has a lot of things that you're looking for. I give this one a solid 90 for this one. You guys let me know what you give this grade for Charles Grant. He fits in perfectly what we're trying to do. Shout out to Fudge357 with the $5 haymaker. Thanks for popping in, man. Thanks for the support as always, man. Thanks for the support from everybody. 172 in the building, man. You guys just showing up big for me, man. Just means a lot, man. I appreciate you guys. Let me see. Paul Edgerton says, I've seen that J-Ro. That would be nice. I don't know what you're talking about, but we got Paul Edgerton still in the building right here, man. We got John B in the building. Big Mike Raider. You already know, man. Let's see. CGR gives it a 95. I like it. We got D White in the building, new to your channel, enjoying the content. Raider Nation for life, man. Hey, hopefully this isn't your last time, man. Spread the word to your folks, man. I know you know a lot of Raiders fans. We all know Raiders fans, so spread the word. And hopefully you come back next time, man. I appreciate the support, man. You're definitely family here, man. And overall, I'm pretty pleased with this draft. Give it an A. Same here. I give it a solid A. Paul Edgerton says, I like Grant. 90 sounds fair. Troy Gill says 94 for Grant. Anthony says 90. Myra G, you already know what it is. Smash the thumb. Hit the thumb, man. Light it. Let's go, man. I appreciate that. Let's see. Bob Stannard, what's up, Raider Nation? Hey, what's up to you, man? You're a new name, man. Thanks for popping in. I don't know if you're new here, but hey, glad you're here, man. So what's the grades? What do you guys give on Charles Grant before we move on to the next one? Let me see. Matt Marinovich, Grant has experience all over the offensive line. Yeah, special type of offensive lineman. And, you know, the small school guys, sometimes those are the best ones, right? They bring a certain type of mentality, a humility, a lunch pail mentality, and then they kind of bring that same mentality into the NFL, and they just keep building and building and building and getting better. So I like it. I like it. Shout out to Raiders Football Talk. Andy in the building. Love both the D tackles. Me too. Me too. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Thanks for popping in, bro. Let me see if you want to talk some ball, man. Let me know, man. I'll shoot the link. J Rowe, I was saying that I've heard people compare Bech to Hines Ward. Yeah, I heard that too in terms of being that hard nosed blocker and being I've heard that as well. So yeah, Hines Ward, who's a little bit more athletic, can catch the ball. I see that. I see that. Salute to Bob in the building. Charles Grant, B+. J Raider 007, B+, versatile. I like it. I like it. Space Beast goes 93 to Dancing Bear Grant. Classic Spy Tech pick in the mold of Graham Barton. I like that. I like that. Graham Barton was also very versatile too. Well, he is very versatile. Yeah, I can see that. Very, very comparable. I like that. Kenny Clark goes no more running on us. Absolutely, man. Let me see. King Juice, dog, you think these draft picks will flourish? I got one Unc who loves the Raiders, and the rest like to be donkeys. Oh, man. Well, at least you got Unc, man. I do think they're going to flourish. I think that these first 4 picks that we went through in the third round, well, actually 5, right? All these guys that we went through in the third round, I think they're all going to flourish, right? I think they're all going to be very useful guys down the line. I think even starters when it's all said and done. I think that we had one of the best drafts that we've had in years. Like I said, I've said this before. So let me see. Oh, shoot. Let me I'm gonna send it to you on your hey, Andy, I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram. I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram. 1 second, bro. Let me see. Invite. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram, bro. 1 second. Let me see. One second, y'all. Let me see. Let me send this to him real quick. Sorry for the dead air, y'all, but I'm about to send this to him real quick. All right, it's sent, bro. All right, so we might be getting Andy in the building shortly, guys. So, and then we're gonna talk about let me see, before we gets in here, let me talk about our other third round pick that we got, Darien Porter from Iowa State. I want to get you guys' take on that one. Let me see. Darien Porter from Iowa State. Let's see. Let's talk about him. So, big dude, 6'4", 200 pounds. Like, man, this is 6'3", 195. Pretty close, right? And we got Hug D's in the building, man. Hug, what's going on, bro? Let me see. 6'3", 195 pounds from Iowa State. This is a Pete Carroll special. This is a guy who hasn't played the corner position for a very long time, but he can get the job done. Let's talk about some of the strengths, right? Rare length speed is at 6'3" with speed, shows up on tape when running vertically with receivers down the boundary. Exactly what you're looking for. Natural ball tracking ability carried over from his wide receiver days. So corner that play wide receiver, you know, he knows what wide receivers are trying to do. He can get into the mind of a wide receiver. You like that, right? Elite special teams value of 5 career block kicks, showcases how effectively he uses his length and explosive burst. Now, if he isn't a starter right off the jump, he could be a special teams guy and making an impact on the special team side, which is also a plus, right? A quick processor who demonstrates solid route recognition and anticipation skills despite limited experience at the position. IQ is what we're talking about. And we'll talk about one more. Former track speed, manifests in recovery ability, can make up good ground quickly when beaten initially on vertical routes. So good speed. He's going to be really deceptive. He's going to really deceive guys into throwing bad balls, and he's going to pick it off right there. So Darien Porter, what do you think? What grade would you give Darien Porter? I'm giving this an 88, B plus on this one. This was a guy that I wasn't necessarily looking at the time. I was hoping we get Siobhan Revel. I understand why they passed up on Revel due to that ACL injury. Revel has a similar type of measurables as far as like height and weight and being that Pete Carroll guy that we all think he's going to be. But Darien Porter is a clean prospect. He hasn't played the cornerback position very much, so I get kind of a little bit weary about that. But an 88 overall out of 100 on this one is what I give this one. But you guys let me know. Darien Porter, what do you give that grade, man? Let me know. Let me see. Shout out to the chat, man. And we got Hug D's in the building. We got Matt Marinovich says Porter might find his way starting cornerback this year. He has the ability. He has the potential to do that. I like it. Hug D's. Welcome Andy Riddle. Big Mike shows are pretty dope. He tries to address the chat often. Yeah. Hey, you know, you guys showing up for me, man. It means a lot, man. And I do my best to kind of, you know, address you guys as best I can. But this thing is flying today. I'll tell you that. Let me see. Porter is a 92. Let's see. Let me see. Shot Bauer says a 92. Darien Porter says B plus. Isaiah R goes A minus. Okay, I like it. J Raider 007. A. I wanted him to go to in the third round, not A plus. Still new to position. Yeah. And that's why I don't give it an A. I give it a B plus, A minus, 88, kind of a B minus ish. B plus, A minus. Anthony gives it a solid A. I'm cool with that too. 87, but can improve with experience. Absolutely. 87 is nothing to slouch at. Yeah, Andy will be here in about 3 minutes, y'all. Let me see. Troy Gill gives it a solid A. I like it. Anthony, unlike Wason, he ignores us. Nah, his chat is his is on fire, man. I don't know how him and Graf keep up with all this, man. But you know, shout out to them, man. They do the thing. Shout out to Ruben Russ with the $5 haymaker. I can see Porter being a Pro Bowler year one, but as a special teamer, yeah, that's a good point. I can see that too. If we use him for special teams, he could be really special. Special blocking punts, that would be great. You know, that third phase of the game, special teams, has been forgotten over the years, especially with the lack of a kickoff and things like that. So if you can win that side of the ball and make a big impact, you give yourself a really good chance to win football games. So that would be great. I'd be all for it. Space Beast says 95. Alien is 6'4", 4'3", 40, 1.49, 10-yard split. The athleticism, the immeasurables, athleticism is off the chain, right? Let me see. Shout out to C. Gabe. Go. What's up, Big Mike? Do you think our trade down in round 2 was partly because a player we wanted was gone? If so, who? Yeah, that's why I heard that they really wanted Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins was off the board, so they traded back. Jack Bech was there at 58. They did their math, they did their homework, and got the guy that they wanted. And I think Jack Bech really, if I really had to sit back and think about it and be truthful with myself, I think that this was a better fit than Jaden Higgins would have been with us. And we got similar guy to Jaden Higgins later in the 4th round. So it works out perfectly, right? And because of that, getting additional 3rd round picks really sets this draft on fire. The fact that we got 2 really good receivers instead of getting 1 early on and not having the additional 3rd round picks, which we turned into trench help. So I think that it was definitely because they didn't get a Jaden Higgins, but it turned out to be really good. And that's what a good GM does, runs through all the scenarios and analyzes how things will work out. If this happens, then we do this, right? That's the type of things that you want to see in your GM. Let me see. That's a good question, man. We got Mondo Reyes in the building. Yo, what's with a Big Mike Raider? Hey, man, salute to you, man. Hey, we you know, we're talking draft. I'm giving grades for each draft pick. I'm gonna wait for Andy to get here. We're gonna talk about these 4th round picks and beyond. Oh, speaking of that, we got Andy in the building right here, man. Let me see. Hold on. Let me fix it. There we go. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's going on, man?
And nothing. We're talking about these draft picks, man. What grade would you give this draft, man? Now, your draft, your grades, it means something because I know you're very critical and you give an honest, like you give an honest evaluation on what the Raiders are doing. So what would you give? What would you give the Raiders grade wise, 1 through 100?
1 through 100. I feel like these last 5 years, Raider fans, we've been used to like regime change, scheme change, front office, all this kind of thing, and like, one thing that I'll say before giving the grade out is that I think the most important thing we saw was that this year the scouts had a vision on where they were actually headed towards. They knew what they were scouting for, and
Absolutely.
I think that makes the process so much easier. At the end of the day, we, as fans, right, going into this process, we're in the 5th round of the draft and we still see Shedeur on the board and we're like, man, we got to get him. But simply that wasn't, I really don't think he was ever on our draft board, and that's okay. But what I'm going to is the scouts had an idea of what our head coach and coordinators wanted, and they attacked it, and I think they executed. I think they executed very well. If I had to give overall rating, I would give this draft a 89, an 89 out of 100. I really like the draft. I think that they did something that we haven't seen in 10 plus years. And you look at the first 4 rounds of this draft, man, and it's like, we've got guys that can make an impact. I'm not talking about starters. I'm not talking about, I know we get excited, seeing everybody that we bring in and we automatically think, oh, this is going to be a starting caliber guy. And that's not the case. Right. But I think that in those first 4 rounds, we have guys that would, within this 2025 season and next year's season, will have an impact and a positive impact on this team. Yeah. And I think that when you start to see good teams become great teams, is because those year 2 guys start to fill in holes and start to take over the roles of the older guys that are now going on to another contract, that are now going into free agency. You see, like, I understand the Steelers, Baltimore, those are fantastic organizations, but, the Steelers and Baltimore, they can afford to let guys walk in free agency because they know what they have in the building.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, for us, when we lose guys like Spillane, Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Merrick, we think, just because they're average, they're amazing, because we're used to bottom of the barrel play. For us, it's like it's the end of the world when we lose something that's average, because we look at our roster and we're like, holy shit, we have nothing besides them, Right. And I understand it worries us, but I think that this draft grade ultimately is a solid 89, and maybe even that rating is still being optimistic, but because we have to see these guys ultimately perform, and at the end of the day, hopefully they all have an impact. But I think the most important thing, obviously those later rounds are huge to hit on, but it's truly important to hit on your first round pick. We cannot consistently get the Tyree Wilsons, get the Alex Leatherwoods, because those are guys that are supposed to be on your roster 10 plus years. Those are supposed to be guys that are supposed to be maybe not the face of the franchise, but at least a backbone. Colton Miller, he's been on this roster his whole career.
And by the way, he's back. He was back at practice today. I mean,
he was back at practice, and those kinds of pieces. Colton Miller hasn't ever made an All-Pro. He has never made a Pro Bowl, but we know what life could be without Colton Miller at the left tackle. So I think that it's truly, truly important to hit on the first round picks. Maybe someone said it's the easiest round, but I think what they did right by was they went with the guy that they knew they were going to get production out of. They went with the guy that they knew that there was no way that pick would fail, and I agree with that one. I agree. Yeah. Me and Mike had conversations. I'm not the biggest fan of running back in the first round. I am the biggest fan of production, though. I love production.
Yeah.
You know, I love production when it comes to any round, but first round is important because those guys, although they're not on a second contract yet, the money's still there. You know,
Right.
we all see the headlines of Ashton Jeanty, second highest paid and guaranteed money. Well,
Yep.
you know, at the end of the day, that's an investment, and he's gonna prove it. But
Yep.
first round draft choices are big investments, you know, and it's disappointing to see how our favorite organization has been ran these last couple years. But
Right.
I mean, there was just a level of confidence and comfort knowing that we had Pete Carroll in the building, you know, and
Yeah.
there was a little bit of a question mark around Spy Tech because I never we so there was a skepticism, but at the end of the day, there's a difference. And I love John Gruden. I would take John Gruden right now, not as a head coach, but in
Mm.
the building.
In the
But
building. Yeah. Yeah.
there's there's a difference between the ego that we know Carroll has and the ego we know Gruden has. You know, Carroll
Right.
seems like he's easier with delegating tasks. He's easier with letting
Right.
guys actually do their jobs and play their roles.
Yeah.
I feel like he did a fantastic job of making Spy Tech feel like, hey, you're the general manager, do your job. You know,
Right.
I've never I would be lying that this is all me just this is me just having the ideas. This is what I think, but I think that that's maybe the opposite of what it was with the past regimes.
Yeah.
We've heard the stories of Mayock wanted this guy, and
Right.
then Gruden wanted that guy, and McDaniels wanted this guy, and fuck, what's the other guy's name at this point? We've been through so many GMs.
Right.
I already forget the guy, but
Telesco and Mayock,
the
like, man.
the one that was the high school counselor, that one. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Telesco, I have nothing bad to say about Telesco. I
Yeah.
think Telesco did a good job outside of this. I mean, whatever, certain players, but I don't know what grades you've given on the specific players, but I'm really excited with the two defensive tackles.
And that's where I want to talk about with you, bro. We were going through each one, and I got Tonka Hemingway popped up right now. What would you give the grade for Tonka Hemingway? To me personally, I think it was a slight reach, just because he was like a later round pick that we could have got later, I feel like. But like I've said before, sometimes, people have different scouting reports and they value guys more than other teams. And I think it's a good fit for us just based on, he's very versatile. He's a guy that can play the nose. He's a little small for a nose, but he can move to the
small.
3. He can move out to the edge. He can do a lot of things. He does some special things. What would you give that grade, man?
I think that Tonka and JJ, but focusing on Tonka, I think that what he does best, apart from his versatility, is he's got that twitch.
Yeah.
He's got that twitch and that get off that ultimately you need when you're translating in the NFL.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, because maybe some people will say, oh, well, you need the power. You need the power to translate from college to the NFL. And you do. For certain positions, you do. And I think defensive tackle power is very important. But I think ultimately, when you go into the NFL, more times than not, you're not going to be facing another rookie. You're going to be facing a guy across from you that's been in the NFL for 2 or more years. And I mean, just having 2 years in the NFL, they've already acclimated to the new speed and the new different style of play. And maybe some people don't think it's too different, but I've even heard Josh Jacobs say that he can't even watch college football because it's so sloppy to him. And he came from Alabama, highly regarded, not organization, but that's a really big school. So to hear a guy that's had success in the NFL say that it's hard for him to watch college football because of how sloppy it is. Now trying to translate into the NFL, if you have just raw power, it's not always going to get you everywhere. We've seen time and time again where there's players on practice squads that can squat 500, 600 pounds, that can bench 30 pounds on the bench press, 300 I mean, not 300, 35 reps on the bench press. But all that kind of stuff doesn't matter when it comes down to, well, I gotta fill up the A gap. I gotta make sure that my backer is free to come downhill and one-on-one tackle this running back. I have to do my job, And I think one thing that Tonka Hemingway has that really excites me is that twitch, that get off. We all saw it immediately when we saw our 7th overall pick, Tyree Wilson, have, it seems like a high school get off, and you mean to tell me offensive lineman is gonna get into his stance, and by the time he's already two steps into his kick slide, this man is just getting out of his stance.
You literally, you have offensive tackles, and this is what people don't see. This is the stuff we look at when we look at film, me and you. Offensive linemen are already waiting for engagement, and this dude's just getting out of his stance. That's a problem,
That's a big problem.
Yeah. And I think you're breaking up.
But oh shit, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You back?
All right. I feel like I said, this isn't a bash on Tyree Wilson. This is more like a praise to Tonka Hemingway.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got that. I feel like ultimately that twitch will translate, but it's not more Tonka Hemingway, but more the competition that he's bringing that excites me. It's not more, he's gonna be a top 10 defensive tackle in getting after the quarterback. That's not necessarily, of course that excites me, but that's not the most exciting thing in my eyes. I think the competition that he brings is the most exciting. And the reason why I say that is because we know Adam Butler has been trying to put his name out there to obviously make more money, but he also wants to be a staple on the defensive line. He's bounced around. He's been on a couple defensive line groups in the NFL. But I think the competition he brings is going to make the guys around him better, even if it means he doesn't get on the field. But because Adam Butler is just up in his game every day, seeing how good this young cat is that they just brought in. Yeah, he's like, fuck, man. I know
it's a sharpening iron situation. So the dudes at the top are getting sharper.
Exactly, and then you look at situations like Matthew Butler, another Tennessee guy that we got 3 years ago. He knows what it's like to get drafted in the 3rd round, get cut, be on a practice squad, and not get any reps. But guess what? Life is only going to get harder for him now because you brought JJ in, you brought Tonka Hemingway in, Adam Butler came back, so it's only going to get tough for him to get on the field. We can all agree, we all want Matthew Butler, Tyree Wilson to all be the top guy at their position, but we know it's not going to happen. But at the end of the day, if their competition forces the guy in front of them to be better, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And and whatever the case may be, maybe in a couple years, if the guy in front of him moves on to get a bigger contract somewhere else, that's fine. But that only works if we keep this cycle going of constantly bringing in guys to produce, because we understand the business of this, and guys are going to move on. So
absolutely, man.
It has to get to a point where we're no longer sad about the Robert Spillanes, although they're Pro Bowlers. We're no longer sad about those guys leaving because Tommy Eichenberg stepped up immensely, or Amari Gaynor looked amazing in his 1,000 snaps, or whoever the case may be, Luke Masterson, whatever the case may be. But there's a reason why we see situations that only the UDFA seems to have impacts on this organization, because they're actually the ones fighting every day because they literally are on their last chance. Like that's all they have. So they're fighting to just get the opportunity, although they're already in the door, while the rest of the guys in front of them are like, well, all I got to compete with is an undrafted free agent, and they drafted me in the 3rd round.
That's true.
It's like, so I love what those two guys are going to bring to the defensive tackle room because of how competitive that room already is with Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, these two guys, Matthew Butler. Like, we have so much competition there, and at the end of the day, there's only going to be two of those guys playing. Like
It's
that's the most important part. Obviously, there's going to be rotation. But starting lineup, it's only going to be two, and we've got like 8 guys that want those jobs. So I think that's the important part, and I really love those draft picks.
Yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we got Andy in the building. When he gets cooking, we letting him cook, man. But let me know, guys, what you give Tonka Hemingway this grade. I thought it was a slight reach, but I like the prospect. I give it an 84 out of 100. I think that's a solid pickup. And you talked about JJ. I call him JJ Pegasus. This dude is a rare breed. So he kind of reminds me of a Pegasus, kind of like, one of them rare unicorn type of guys, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a guy that I think is special, right? But before we talk about JJ Pegasus, I call him JJ Pegasus. Shout out to Ruben Russ with the $5 haymaker. He says, I can see JJ being a nose tackle. Playing weight was 325. Pete Love having shorter D tackles in the 320s. Play one technique or the 0. I could see him play like Reed or Puna Ford. What you think about that, man?
I think that JJ, I think the correct pronunciation is Pegues. From what I've seen, watching a little bit extra of Ole Miss film these last couple days. I think in terms of Jerron Reed, that's a completely different guy, because Jerron Reed, I think that's who he's talking about, because he's referring to the Pete Carroll days. But I think Jerron Reed is a bit different, because we know him as a pass rusher.
Right.
He's known as a pass rusher in this league. He has bounced around here and there, but he's done what many can't do, and that's be in the league for like 5+ years, and he's done that for quite some time. But I'd say that in terms of JJ, I do see him more as a tweener between that, bouncing back and forth between nose and 3, but not in the way that he'll be a full-time nose one week and then the next week be a full-time 3 technique. I think that in certain packages he'll play certain positions. And the only reason is because we don't really have a true nose. We don't have that. And I say that, if anything, to me, he reminds me of a slightly slimmer but a little bit more agile Jonathan Hankins, which we know was a nose tackle. Now, I mean, I think that if you draft a Jonathan Hankins in the 6th round, you've done amazing, I think that in the later years of Jonathan Hankins being with the Raiders, he starts to get more injuries, but he's younger and he can definitely stuff the run. I think that the short yardage running excites a lot of us, but if I'm gonna be honest, I don't see him getting any reps at the fullback position.
That was my next question. Yeah.
I don't see it happening. If there's any fun coach that would do it, I think Pete Carroll might be open to it, though.
Right.
So don't completely write it off, but I don't think he's going to get any fullback reps. I also feel like, as a defensive lineman trying to acclimate into the NFL, that's a lot to put on his plate,
Right.
Not saying that he can't do it or he's incapable, but it's tough, man. Learning a scheme, you're under the microscope of a Hall of Fame head coach, and his expertise is the defense. Now to tell him, all right, well, you just finished your defensive meetings, go ahead and do some work with the backs. I mean, he did it at the combine. He worked with the tight ends, he worked with the running backs, he worked with the defensive tackles. So he has it. He has the athletic ability, but I think the NFL is a different animal, though.
Yeah, I agree. If I had to give a grade on this JJ Pegues pick, I'm giving it a 94. I'm giving it a 94. I think it's good value at that position. I think that he can be. We can see him being a starter at some point, especially at that one technique. We, like you
Yeah,
said,
for sure.
we don't have a one. You know,
Yeah,
Adam Butler to me is not a true one. You know,
no.
but he's going to be the starting guy at that position. But if you're really looking for that run plugger, that double A gap filler,
Yeah, we don't have it.
Pegues is that guy. He's that guy. Eventually, he can be.
I feel like the nose, the true nose, like head up on the center, we're not gonna really have that anyways because of this
Yeah.
Pete Carroll system.
Right.
There's like slightly shaded over in like a 1 or a 2 technique
Yeah.
because this is going to more of a traditional 4 down lineman. So you got 2 edge, 2 defensive tackles, but
Yeah.
I mean, I personally I would definitely give JJ Pegues like a 90, a flat 90,
Yeah.
because I feel like he's been disruptive in his college days. I
Mhm.
think that it's important that he continues to develop a little bit of a pass rush. I'm not saying that everybody on our defensive line needs to be pass rushers, because I mean you can't have that. But you know, it would be nice to see him get, three sacks a season. 3 sacks a season from a solid run stopper would be nice.
Yep.
Maybe that's asking for a little too much, but being selfish. But I think whenever you could find someone in the 6th round that you see have the potential of starting one day, I think you hit it out of the park on that one. And I
Yeah.
also agree. I would give that one a good 90. I think for me across the board, because you already went through all the first 4 rounds, right?
Yeah. I gotta actually rewind and go back to Dante Thornton Jr. We'll talk about
Okay.
that after you can finish your thought.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I think that JJ is a very solid pickup at
But I do want
180.
to
Can you hear me?
say having some technical difficulties. Hey, that was Andy, guys. Hey, we might be getting him back soon, but yeah, give me a grade on JJ Pegues. Like I said, it's a 94 for me. Let me know what you guys think about it. We'll be getting Andy back on here pretty soon, man. Yeah, we both froze up like a stripper. Shout out to CGR. Shout out to you guys, man. 203 in the building. You guys already know what to do, man. Like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Like I said, Pegues, I give it a solid 94. Space Beast gives it 100. And looks like we got Andy back in the building. 1 second. Let me see. There we
Yo.
go. I think we both froze up. Something happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we both froze up because I was like, I don't know what happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
I give JJ Pegues a 90, and that's just because of what I feel like he could project into
Yeah.
in the future. Just a quick one. Man, to be honest, I give Gene T that's a home run pick, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a 99 right there. You don't
That's
get
what I gave it.
you do that with Gene T. I personally think that Jack Bech is a solid like 85. Not because I don't think he's an A+ caliber player, but because I mean, me personally, I feel like you go off his first round. I would have preferred maybe defense in the second, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can't have everything your way. I love the Jack Bech pick. I think that ultimately, I thought it was very funny that people were comparing him to like a tall, more built Hunter Renfro, and me personally, if you look at Hunter Renfro, a healthy Hunter Renfro, that's someone that got 100 catches and over 1,000 yards in this league. So to
Yeah.
me, that's more than enough. That's more than enough when you already have Bowers, Jacoby, and now Gene T in the backfield. So I think
Yeah.
that would be amazing. I think the Puka Nakua comps are a little rich, but
Yeah.
I would love that as well. Me, Darien Porter is one of my favorite picks. I give that like a 95. I
Yeah.
think that shout out to X. Me and X we were thinking of guys that could be starting caliber corners in the mid, second, third round. Me personally, I had Darien Porter as a second rounder. So
Oh wow. Okay.
For me to see Darien Porter get picked up in the third round that was a dream scenario, man. I was like, man, each time I see Darien Porter in these mock draft simulators at 68, I was like, man, you take him, because in my head, I was like, there's no way. A guy that's 6'4", runs that fast, and had elite production at corner and on special teams. I was like, there's no way, but he was there. I'm not going to complain. I love the Darien Porter pick. So I give that like a 95. And you said that we got two offensive linemen. We got Caleb Rogers and
Charles Grant.
Charles Grant. Caleb Rogers, another similar to Jack Bech. I'd give another 85 out there. I mean, we all know that he projects more as a guard. Again, similar to how I feel about the two defensive tackles, the two offensive tackles, I agree the same way. The two offensive linemen. You have now essentially 5 people fighting for one guard spot. You got. We know that JPJ, I guess at the moment, is gonna start at the center spot, but now you've got Dylan Parham, Alex Kappa, Jordan Meredith, Caleb Rogers. I'm probably missing some more guys, but I think we have more guys on the offensive guard position that are all fighting for that job.
Yeah.
So
you basically got 4. You got 4 dudes fighting for one spot, but with 2 spots basically.
And realistically, it's more like one spot, because we know that Dylan Parham is going to get the backup center job. So, regardless, if Dylan Parham doesn't get the starting guard, he's going to get on the roster, because he's going to be your backup center to JPJ. So it's realistically, these guys, they're really fighting for one job out there. So I love what that brings. I love the competition that Charles Grant is going to bring to Thayer Munford. Some people project DJ Glaze to bump into guard, so that's now 5 guys trying to fight for that guard spot.
That's true.
So there's so much competition now. I give the Charles Grant pick an 88, and that's because I feel like, although he was at a smaller school, his production was just so much more elite. And you want to see a guy that was in a smaller school just manhandle the other and look like he doesn't belong, but in a good way. And that's what his tape did look like to me. And out of William and Mary, I know that he came in on a top 30 visit, so he was always on the Raiders' radar.
Right.
I love that pick as well. Very, very confident that out of Thayer Munford and Charles Grant, even DJ Glaze, I think we will find a good serviceable starter for at least the next 3 seasons. There's always room for improvement. You can always upgrade, so I'm never opposed to that, especially when you've got a generational running back there. You always want to improve that offensive line, but I really like what we did there at the end of the 3rd round, especially when we didn't have those picks to begin with.
That's what I was saying. Like it's to me, that's why I give this whole draft an A, because we moved back twice to get 2 additional 3rd round picks, and with that, we turn that into trench to address the trenches. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. I personally wouldn't have believed that you could flip 37 into 58, 99, 98. I didn't think you would be able to do that. On top of it, within the first trade, we also moved up 10, 11 spots in the 4th round. So I think that was really big as well. Because I know we had 108, and I believe it was originally 145, and then we moved all the way to 143.
It was 143.
And then we moved up to 135. So we moved up 8 spots there, with one trade. And I think that was massive, especially because we weren't going to pick again until 180. So I think that was huge. I think that was massive. And I really like those two. I give 85 to Caleb and 88 to Grant.
What do you give the Dante Thornton pick? I think this is one of my favorite picks outside of Jeanty, of course. I'm giving it a 95 just based on, they said that we traded back in the second round because we wanted to get Jaden Higgins, and he was unavailable at the time. Not only did we get a guy that's comparable to Jaden Higgins, we also got a gritty wide receiver at Jack Bech. So now we got a 2-for-1 deal. So that's why I like the fact that we addressed it in the fourth round and got a similar guy who can be that deep threat and speedy 6'5". Like, it's a 95. It's a home run shot. And in the chat, let me know what you guys think about Dante Thornton Jr. I think it's a 95, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think as a fan base, you immediately get like a nostalgia feeling, like
It's Al Davis pick.
You get this feeling like, oh shit, like it's the fourth round, you get a player that you feel like can, although it's only a fourth round pick, you find somebody that can impact this team immediately. I feel like there has been some little conversation around the Raiders fan base that maybe starts to worry a little bit about where this like how will this impact Trey Tucker's situation, because we've known Trey Tucker as our deep threat guy these last two seasons. And I'll say this, I think that they're both fast, but they're two completely different players. I think that Trey Tucker is a really, really, really different player. I think that Trey Tucker, although he can fly down the field, Trey Tucker's route tree is expanded a lot more. But my not issue, but I guess my only critique on Trey Tucker is that he's going into his third year, and we feel like we're still, each time it's time for him to haul in a deep ball, it's like, damn, is he going to get both 2 feet in, And we've seen that with Trey Tucker, and that's all right. Coming from college, we know that there's that transition. But honestly, I think that Dante Thornton is a completely different player. I feel like he stretches the field not only with his speed, but with his physicality. Like, with all due respect to Trey Tucker, there's a big difference throwing a jump ball to somebody that's 5'10" and throwing a jump ball to somebody that's 6'5". To me, there's a big difference, and I also feel like it's a huge pick because, although it's not DK Metcalf and they're not really comparable at all, but the frame is something that Geno Smith is used to throwing the ball to. That kind of height is something that Geno Smith is used to throwing the ball to and trusting. So I think that is very important. Me personally, I love the Dante Thornton pick. I would agree with you. I think it's a 95 out of 100. I think that's that's an A draft choice right there. I kind of disagree with the people that say that he's a guy that needs to be able to run every route in the NFL. I don't think he needs to do that. I don't think so. I think that you simply put him in a situation where he can succeed. I don't think that this is a guy that needs to be out here as a decoy. I think that with all due respect, I think you've got decoys on the roster like DJ Turner and Trey Tucker. I think this is someone that you can actually use as a full-blown weapon on your offense.
Absolutely.
So with that slender frame, the frame reminds me of a T. Higgins, but the speed reminds me of, somebody that's completely different, and I do think that T. Higgins can run the full route tree, but I think that Dante Thornton, he will have a huge, huge, huge impact on this offense, and it will directly affect and impact Ashton Jeanty's production, because those two will go hand in hand. Like, it will go hand in hand. I think this is a great pick. Ashton Jeanty's a great pick for Geno Smith, for Trey Tucker, for Jacoby Myers, for Brock Bowers. That the Ashton Jeanty pick was huge. Dante Thornton, 26 catches to produce 661 yards. That's insane. And I think he also had 6 or 7 touchdowns. So I think that that's insane production. We're talking about if he would have had 50 targets, 50 catches, that's 1,300 yards, man. Like, that's actually insane to believe. It is a little bit interesting that he wasn't more involved in Oregon's offense, but when he was at Oregon, uh, and I mean in Tennessee, his production did go up. But man, I mean you can only be excited for somebody that only catches the ball 26 times but puts up over 600 yards. You know, like
Yeah.
that is impressive.
That's almost like some Henry Ruggs numbers. You know, Henry
Bro,
Ruggs was a similar.
that was like what Brandon Ayuk was doing before he got his big contract, man. Brandon
Yeah.
Ayuk had like 70 catches, but had like 1,400 yards, which is ridiculous, you know. So it's
Right.
just like I think that's incredibly impressive. I give that a 95 all the way.
Yeah. So I want to round this out. We got the last 3 picks. We got Mellet, and we got Cam Miller, and we got Lindenberg. What would you give the Mellet, the Cam Miller, and the Lindenberg? I think that it's very intriguing what they're going to bring with Mellet, because they're going to convert him to wide receiver. Now, I'm not expecting much from a 6th-round pick. You know, it's a guy that might be a gadget guy. You know, you bring in gadget plays, certain situations. Maybe he does turn into a Julian Edelman at the very most, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he is that next Julian Edelman guy, but it's an intriguing pick. I'll give it an 84 just because I'm like, you know, it's another wide receiver. Now, Trey Tucker has to watch out now because of that, right?
Exactly. And
You know,
I think that for me, I think you're a little bit higher on it than me. I just give it a flat 80. You know, I'm not
okay,
I'm all for getting the uber athlete in the 6th round. I'm all for it, and you cannot deny his athleticism. I think he was like a 4.3 speed with like almost a 40-inch vertical. You know, like
right,
that's undeniably athletic. You know,
right,
um, I do find it a bit exciting because I know that the person calling the shots on offense is someone that just came from college, so he is a little bit more freshly minded. And I do think that he can implement a gadget guy into the offense. Um, I just feel like for me, maybe this was they felt like he was just the best player on the board, so they grabbed him. And I'm
yeah,
all for just getting the best talent out there.
yeah,
But I do feel like whatever you feel like Tommy can do, I feel like Trey Tucker can do. You know, I
absolutely,
don't I don't
yep,
I don't really think that Tommy can run the route tree the way Tucker can. I don't think that Tommy will be able to stretch the field and haul in a moon ball that Geno Smith throws the way that a guy like Trey Tucker can.
right,
Um, and again, it's just a 6th-round pick. Maybe it's just being a little overcritical, but I still feel like there was maybe a couple of defensive guys on the board that you could have looked at with that pick. But I'm all for, like I said, getting the super athletic guys. We got
yeah,
us one. Maybe within 3 years we're looking at this guy and he put on about like 40 pounds and we look at him as a Taysom Hill. I'd be all for that.
yeah,
But at this moment, my initial grade, I'd give it a solid, just like a flat B. No B
yeah,
plus, no B minus. It's a B, and he can prove us wrong or prove us right. Either way, I mean, 6th-round pick. Nobody's gonna be hurt over it.
right. What about Cam Miller? Now, this was a quarterback that I don't think any of us was really kind of watching. Now, we were looking at guys in the later round, sure, but this was a guy I didn't think he was going to even be drafted. What do you give this one? I mean, to me, I think it's probably an 81, 80, something like that. I really don't have much. I'm not really like super broke up again.
But can you hear me though?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. So I was saying, like,
So
I don't love it or hate the pick, right?
yeah, I think for me the grade is the exact same as Tommy. I think it's just a flat 80,
Yeah,
just because, I mean, he's a slightly better quarterback than Tommy, but he's a little bit less the athlete than Tommy is.
yeah,
in terms of the quarterback position, I don't think that outside of being a little bit more athletically inclined, I don't think he offers you anything more than Aiden O'Connell does as a quarterback. So I think that there's
I'm
that
here.
for me. So yeah, I don't think he offers more than Aiden O'Connell does at the quarterback position.
Right.
And I mean, at the moment, there's Geno Smith, there's Aiden O'Connell, there's Cam Miller, there's the undrafted free agent we got from UNLV as quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I'm missing another quarterback that we have on the roster. Is Gus Bradley's son? Is he still there?
Yeah. Carter Bradley. Yeah. And I think he's going to be on his way out. I think
So
they're going to let him go at some point.
so I think that essentially you roll into the season with Geno Smith and Aiden O'Connell, and one of these guys here, compete for that practice squad spot. But
Yeah.
that's about it. I mean, I don't really know how they fit. I'm happy for them. They got that chance.
Yeah.
Maybe Cam Miller goes out there and he proves to Pete Carroll that he's better. He's a better option to have on the
Yeah.
roster than Aiden O'Connell, and I'd be all for it. I'm all for having the best guy out there, man.
Right.
I'm not the biggest Aiden O'Connell fan, so it wouldn't strike me that Pete Carroll would draft Cam Miller, and ultimately Cam Miller's the one to get that quarterback 2 spot. So I'm all for having the best guys on the roster. I would give it an 80 though. I would give it a flat 80.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. And then the last one is our linebacker that we got, Lindenberg.
Cody Lindenberg, right?
Yeah, Cody Lindenberg. It's another 80 for me, just because it's like it's another Tommy Eichenberg. The name sounds familiar too, and they play exactly the same. We're the same number. It's another it's another pick like that. Like
Yeah.
we have enough of those type of linebackers. I don't think there's really no difference in the two guys. I mean, do you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a little bit higher on it than you are. I give it like an 85.
Okay.
And I give Cody a solid 85. And the reason why I do that is because I know it's harder to stand out on Ohio's defense. And I understand that. I understand that Minnesota to Ohio, they're not really comparable, but
Right.
I think that Cody was the guy that he was a green dot for his team for 4 years. So I think that's big. I think that same thing. We didn't see much out of Tommy last year, but who is he going up against? Who is his competition? He made the roster, but he didn't have any competition. I feel like Cody, what he's gonna bring in is he's actually a guy that's gonna make Luke Masterson, Tommy Eichenberg, himself, Amari Gaynor, Amari Burney, all these guys that made the roster last year because of simply not having any competition. I think is going to up the rest of the guys' game. So if that means that this year Tommy Eichenberg is a practice squad guy and Cody makes the roster, that's great. If it means that Luke Masterson ends up linebacker 3 behind Devin White and Landon Roberts, I think that's great. I think that ultimately the competition is something that we needed in this linebacker room now that Robert Spillane is gone, because Max Crosby is gonna hold this defensive group accountable. And I think that for all those quote unquote vets that have been in the NFL for longer than their rookie season now, there's nothing worse than getting showed up by the new kid on the block. And none of them are gonna want to get showed out by the new kid on the block. But this guy right here is used to being the guy on his defense. So although he was only a 7th round pick, he's gonna come in with some confidence, I hope. And And I hope he gives them a little bit of a run for their money. You know, if all those guys still make the roster and Cody doesn't, I mean, it is what it is. It was a seventh round pick.
Yep.
And I mean, if Cody becomes a part of the 53-man roster, then hey, I'm super hyped for him. But I'd give it like an 85 because I feel like he's more athletic than Tommy.
Yeah.
So it allows a little bit of an upgrade on special teams if
That's true.
even if Tommy doesn't make make the roster, it's at least an upgrade on special teams if Cody doesn't end up being a starting linebacker. So I think that there's that. You at least get an upgrade on special teams. Um, but there's that with Cody. I think that this was a really good draft class, man.
Yeah.
I feel like overall, like a solid 89 for this draft class. Super, super excited.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the season is ultimately going to give us all the answers, but
Yeah.
let's just hope we're not picking in the top 15 this year. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You talk me up. I'll definitely give that last pick at 84. I had it at 80. I think 84 just because you said just competition at the linebacker position and the special teams, what he's bringing to the table special teams wise is an upgrade. So I'll say that. And then I'll give the overall draft a 93, 94. That's what I give it. So solid A. I think that's where we're at just because what we've done with the picks that we had and the fact that we turned the second round pick, move back, get 2 receivers in the process and address the trenches. Like that's a home run to me right there. I think that was the highlight of the draft to me. So, saying all that, I give it a 93, 94. But one more thing I want to ask you, bro, before we get out of here.
Yeah.
And shout out to the chat, man. Once Andy gets in here, we cook. I haven't been addressing the chat as much, but hey, shout out to you guys, man, for staying engaged. And you guys are the best. But we signed 17 undrafted free agents. Is there one specifically outside of Mello Dotson? Because everybody knows about Mello Dotson at this point. He's probably going to make the squad at corner. Outside of Mello Dotson, who would you think would be a guy that we should be looking at who's going to step up out of these 17 that they've signed?
Yeah, I really like both the Baylor guys we signed. I really like the Baylor defensive tackle that we got.
Yep.
Another 6'5", 288-pound beast. I think similar to Tonka Hemingway, he had more of a productive season. He didn't have 4 sacks like Tonka did. I think he had 3.5.
Yeah.
But the other Baylor guy, I think his name is Matt Baylor or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I think he's another guy very productive. Again, I think that the more competition you throw into that defensive room, the better. I think that it's very, very important. The easy pick is definitely Mello Dotson for sure. I was surprised that he was still on the board. I'm not surprised that JJ Pegues, his teammate Jared Ivey got signed today. I think if I'm not wrong, he got signed to the Titans or the Vikings, something like that.
Yeah.
But Jared Ivey's a monster. I don't know how the hell he didn't get drafted. I don't know. I don't know what came up in his background checks. That's the only way that I feel like he would have gone undrafted. But yeah, those 2 guys, I think both the Baylor guys, I really like both the Baylor guys. I looked into the defensive tackle that's strictly a nose. I think he's out of SMU. His nickname is Tank.
Yep, that's what I was going to bring up. Defensive tackle Anthony Booker.
I'm not a fan of his. I watched. I only watched 2 full games, but he didn't really impress me. You know, he didn't. It just seemed like the times he did win, it was just sheer power, and because he weighed more than the guy in front of him.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Still, it's not easy to overpower a grown ass man in front of you and push him back. But
Right.
I just feel like in the NFL, it's just not going to translate. I'm very happy he got he's getting an opportunity, and I hope he proves me wrong. Like I hope I'm completely wrong. And we found our nose tackle that we've been desperately needing as a UDFA. I would love it, but I think that as of now, that search is still out there. But yeah, I really like the two Baylor kids. I think that those two guys are gonna have a chance to compete for bottom of the roster spot, if not for sure practice squad. And yeah, I do think that Melo Dotson is gonna make the roster.
Yeah. I mean, that's why if I was like name one guy, we would have both said Melo Dotson.
Yeah, we would have both said Melo Dotson, and I mean, that dude's just productive. I don't know how the hell he didn't get drafted. I don't know how his teammate didn't get drafted.
Yeah, Kobe. Yeah.
I'm not as high on Kobe as everybody else is, but I mean his interception tally is undeniable. You can't really say anything about that. So I think that both of those guys are really great players, and I think that Melo Dotson is for sure going to make the roster. Because we need help on corners still. I know we got Darien Porter, but we need help at the cornerback spot. I really would have loved to go into the season with a veteran on the roster, but I mean, you can't have everything, I guess.
I mean, we still got post June. Post June is gonna, that brings up a whole new factor of the free agency that a lot of people forget about, right? That second phase, third phase, or whatever, a free agency, once money starts moving around, you can start making trades and bringing in other guys when it's all said and done, and kind of fill the needs for that you're missing, like safety, corner, things like that, linebacker. You can do that in those round post June 1st. You got me? We good? I think Andy froze up on me, man. Andy, you still there, bro? You still there, bro?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I think post June is like a whole new free agency.
Yeah.
Like very exciting. Post June is super super exciting. Like I said, I would like in a perfect world to get a veteran defensive back out there, even if it's a safety, because I know that Jeremy Chin has been in the league, but I would like somebody. I mean, no disrespect to Jeremy Chin, but a little bit more. How do I say it? Somebody that has been a little bit more stamped in this NFL. Like I feel like Jeremy Chin is still figuring himself out in the NFL, and I would like someone that kind of has already figured out the NFL. He knows what it's like to play defensive back in the league. And I would like that because, I mean, Isaiah Polamau, it'd be great if he had a great mentor. It'd be great if Ja'Cory Bennett had a great mentor at the cornerback spot. Now, they probably have that now with Pete Carroll, but I would like it on the field as well as off the field, But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, the UDFAs, I like both.
I think we're frozen again. Hey, shout out to the chat, man. I think we're frozen again. I think I'm going to get out of here soon. But, yeah, man, shout out to the 212 in the building. I think I lost Andy. Yeah, you still there, bro? Yeah, there we go, man. So I think we lost Andy, but hey, shout out to the 213 in the building. My bad for the shoddy coverage on this one, man. But you guys get it, man. We went through the whole draft. Like I said, I give it a 93, 94. We didn't go through all the UDFAs, but keep an eye on a Melo Dotson. Keep an eye on one of my guys that I'm looking at. Andy's not really big on him. Is Anthony Booker from SMU, and those tackles from Baylor. Those are the guys we want to look at. Also, Old Dominion fullback Pat Conroy. He might sneak in and be that designated fullback for us. But those are the guys that we're going to be looking at in out of the UDFAs to make that final 53. Let's see. Let's get Andy back on real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. Is Andy still there? Yeah, he's frozen again, man. But I think I'm going to get out of here, y'all. Shout out to Andy. Let me see. My bad, guys. Let me see. Yeah, he's super frozen. But guys, thanks for the support, man. Thanks for everybody who came in. We got 196 in the building. Shout out to everybody that popped in. Hug D's, making me laugh throughout the whole thing. I'm trying to, have a serious conversation. Hug D's is hijacking the show as always. But shout out to Hug D's, my guy. Shout out to Fudge 357, staying the whole way. Space Beast, CGR, everybody who supported. Let me get back to the people who supported. We got Falk you with the $5 haymaker, Fudge with the $5 haymaker, Ruben, Rust, $5 haymaker times 2. Guys, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the support. Paul was in the building the whole time, and everybody that was here, man. I appreciate you guys. That is the show. And hey, we're going to be back soon. But before we go, you guys already know what to do. Like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Peace.
Light 'em up.
They threw dirt on my name and flowers grew right out the brown soil. My vision's clear as glass, the robe is purple satin plus the crown's royal. Allow me to give you a demonstration. Holding your breath, waiting for me to fail only brings hyperventilation. See, I'm a soldier that's ready for any situation. So me and life double dated my trials and tribulations. Won't be remembered for not speaking out. I Google map my whole approach, so I chose not to take the peaceful route. I promise I can't make this shit up. I shed a tear, then use the mic stand to hold my chin up. They plot and strategize on different ways to make me give up. That's easier said than done, like a woman that's 9 months pregnant doing sit-ups. Yeah, I read the book of life, defeat was never in my story. Just brutal fights on the battlefield that's bloody and gory. Showing off is a fool's idea of glory. Call me foolish, then in the clutch I make them drop like I was Robert Ory. See, in this world you gotta sink or swim. Boy, I'm a legend. When I die my presence never will be felt again. This greatness rare, but see I kept it in. Isolation in the demons, guardian angels been my only friend. I've been at war with myself in silence. Had a mental malfunction, forced to go into hiding.
I hope you're watching right now, because then you're gonna understand whoever get in my way, I'ma dog walk their ass.